All right, gang. So we started Stalingrad Pocket, the second edition, and it's, standard combat series. So it's got its interesting little scenario rules, like unlimited stacking, pretty much inside the city of Stalingrad, which there's I don't know 6 or 7 hexes in there, but you can only use in combat the forces that meet the stacking restrictions, which is 6 points. So you could have 12 points in there, but you can only use 6 of them for attack or defense. You have these markers called DAM markers, DAM. They're like determined attack markers, and you can use them on offense or defense. It's probably a good thing the Germans only have 2, because if they're attacking and they have one of these markers down on a unit that is attacking, and you don't have to put these things in a hex where there's a unit at. You can put them in an empty hex with, the idea that you're probably going to move a unit in there and it will give them a bonus. So, but the Germans, any unit participating in the attack will get doubled, but they only have 2 of those markers. The Soviets, they have, I don't know, they've got 5 or 6. Only the stacked units that are stacked with the marker get double attack strength, or whatever, double strength. Any adjacent ones that are participating don't. And you also have reserve markers in this game, like you do in OCS, that and it's probably more for the Soviets because they don't have any that I see, any standard exploit capable units. The Germans do. So you can use the reserve markers to put on a non-exploit capable unit, so can the Germans. And then they can be kind of like reserve in OCS, they can exploit move, come out of the reserve status, and they can overrun. So there's no combat phase. It's either exploit move or exploit move to overrun. All right, so we started the first turn. And when I started as the Soviets and I did the barrage, they have a lot of those Katyusha rockets, which you'll see they're all back over here now on the turn track, most of them. Because once you use them, they get removed from play for 5 turns. And then you bring them back in as like a reinforcement. Well, to the headquarters they are assigned to. Now there's rules where anyhow, they come back on like a reinforcement, but they're very powerful. And the Germans have almost no line over here, so they kind of blew through this real quick. And already having to scatter German units over here. Pulled armor out from just below Karpovka, and some that were in Stalingrad. And I had to move them and then use exploit movement to get them as far as I could. So they're going to have to go there and fight that off. That's probably where their determined assistant, or their determined attack markers will end up over here on the next turn. I don't see anything going to happen in Stalingrad. At least not until the Russians work their way around. So it may be kind of like Paulus, where they just get cut off. Now, right here, in this area, the Soviets attacked, and they pushed down this road right here to about where the tweezers are. And I pulled these German armor units out. They attacked, and then they were left into a place where they could exploit. So then, after they attacked and drove the first stack back, which you can see is DG'd right there, they exploit overrun a stack that was sitting right here and completely wiped it off the face of the earth. And let me tell you something, when they did the attack on this stack that was down here, their strength was like 64 or something like that. I see they were right here, yeah. And they got the big bonus. And then that unit fell back to there like a R3. And then the other unit was sitting here, and they just was sitting there, and they drove across it into him and took care of him. So, other than that, there were only, I don't think I had more than 1, maybe 2 German attacks. And the German artillery is not as potent, but their Nebelwerfers, they don't lose them like the Katyusha rockets. So I thought this was kind of going to be, well, shoot, the Soviet artillery, they're just going to blow a hole through this and they're going to be off and running. And they still may be because a lot of the German units are small. But the combat chart, so like 4-1 and 5-1 is not necessarily a guarantee. It's pretty decent, but not a guarantee. And then you can see 2-1 to 3-1. That's the thing about these MMP games and I kind of like it actually. You really got to get some good odds if you want to guarantee yourself anything. I mean, really good odds. So the Soviets they pushed in over here. They got a DG'd stack, a very nice stack of armor that's DG'd right there. But like I say, none of their armor is exploit capable. So you got to plan. And I had some reserve markers down when I started their turn, but those units, they weren't going to do anything. So they're coming down the road here. They broke out down the road here above the Romanian 5th Corps, Serafimovich. I think I got that one right. Across the river. He has that damage determined attack marker on him, but those guys were sitting in the mountains. They weren't about to attack them. So, and they broke across the bridge here, across the river here, and they're pushing. But the Germans, they kind of got him in a pocket, but the Germans can't attack that stack. I think there's 3-5 defensive strength units in there. Nothing's going to happen there. They're pushing in here. I had to put an artillery unit there to stack it just to have some defense there, and there's another unit underneath him. And I'm already starting to pull the Germans back up here just a little bit on this line, but don't want to give up Stalingrad, although I could give up Stalingrad, but boy, that'll free up a ton of forces if I do that, because they really can't get anywhere as long as there's troops sitting in Stalingrad. So if I can deal with everything else, and the Germans got plenty of reinforcements coming on, but if I could deal with everything else and hang on to Stalingrad, that'd be a big plus. So I need to slow down the spearheads that the Soviets create. And, their spearheads are going to come from this area over here. And then they're going to come from, it's already happening over here. And I'm not sure where, like I said, it's one of those games where I haven't looked at where the reinforcements come in at. We'll see as we go. I thought this was going to be a bust out, but the Germans stuffed that one really, really quick. Now, the Soviets aren't done, obviously, but the Germans, like I said, they eliminated one full stack. It was a motorized. Let's see, what was it? It was a motorized stack, too, so they took care of business with them. I think it was motorized. No, they weren't, but they did knock out a tank unit, so. And we've got forces over here to go hopefully deal with these guys. So the Germans had an airstrike too. They had one airstrike for that turn. It didn't do anything. Matter of fact, I only had the 1 or 2 attacks, and I forgot to apply it to the attacks. Didn't need it, so I used it as a barrage instead, which should have been before the attacks. I got to remember that. But you roll for weather each turn, and the weather determines how many air points you get. So, all right. So nobody got any reinforcements on the first turn. The Germans will get some reinforcements on turn 2, which I think is just that little tiny stack of infantry right here on the left. All right, so this is Stalingrad Pocket 2. That's the first turn, 19 to 20 November. You know what? I don't even know what year this is. Stalingrad was what, 43, 44, 43? All right, so there you have it. We'll get on to turn 2, and the game moves pretty quick too, so it didn't really take long to play this turn. All right, so let's get this thing posted. Let y'all get a look at this play right here, and we'll get started on turn 2, or we'll go do the Blitzkrieg Legend of OCS, which is all set up and ready to go now. All right, talk to y'all soon.